Okay, welcome. This is the first demonstration showing you the first steps of the mandala assignment. So the first thing that you should be doing is to open up all your images that you want to use, especially your background. This is what we're going to be working with. You pick a background that is a nice high resolution, and you also pick a picture that has a lot of pattern, has a lot of color, not a lot of detail. So if you start covering this area up with some other images, it doesn't really matter. So what we're going to be needing is the wedge template. The wedge template is found in the S drive, in the student drive. But for these purposes of this demonstration, I just happen to be putting it in another file because I'm not able to access the network. So I just put it in this folder right here. But where you can access this and get it from the student drive, SMS student in graphic design, and then you go to Corso, go to graphic design, and then there's a folder called Mandala. So the wedge is there. You're going to use the magic wand tool. You are going to select the inside of this wedge, and then what you're going to do is you're going to move the inside of this wedge, and you're going to move it down on top of your background. Okay, so what you should have is just your wedge. There should be no rectangle around it, no background around it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to size it up, figure out where you want it to, where you want the wedge background to be, what part of it you want to use, so you can start rotating it. What you want to avoid is stretching it out by using the squares on either side, on the sides. This is going to make it stubby, this is going to stretch it out. You want to avoid that because you want to keep the 30-degree wedge. So the best way to do that is to just work with the corners, to either make it larger or smaller, or to rotate it. So you can see I'm sticking to the corners. Okay. Now what you can do is you can reduce the opacity of layer 1. And what that'll do, you reduce it until you can see what is behind it, and that'll allow you to see what exactly you're using for your wedge. Okay. Then once you're happy with it, you commit to that space. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get those marching ants back the inside of the wedge again. So you're going to use the magic wand tool, make sure you're on layer 1, and you're going to click. So then you see the marching ants around the wedge. You are going to go to select inverse. So what it's going to do is it's going to select not the wedge, it's going to select what's around the wedge, which is what you want to delete. We want to delete it from the background, but before we delete it from the background, you're going to unlock the background. Double click, say OK, make sure you're on layer 0, hit delete. We don't need layer 1 anymore, we don't need this wedge anymore, so you're going to drag that right into the trash can there. And that is your wedge. Then what you're going to start to do is you're going to start bringing all of your images one by one on top of your wedge. You're going to arrange them where you want them to be. You can size them up. You can change the order of them by sliding them up and down on the layers window, whichever one you want in front and the back, and you arrange it into a composition that you're happy with. You don't have to necessarily cover all of the background, you can leave some of the background, but you want to have a nice representation of all of your objects. Okay, and it's okay if you have them hanging off, because in the next demonstration I'm going to show you how you can crop some images to make sure that they fit on the wedge and they're not hanging over like this particular images. Okay, so you keep working on that. The next video is going to be about cropping your wedge so it remains the same size. So it'll cut off all these overlapping areas.